I'm Juliette Goodrich in for Elizabeth. Our top story tonight, there are new questions about the New Year's Eve hit and run in San Francisco that left 2 pedestrians dead. The 2 victims are 27-year-old Hiroko Abe and 60-year-old Elizabeth Platt. Both were walking in a crosswalk when they were struck and killed. KPIX 5's Joe Vazquez is in Daly City with some new details on the suspect. Joe.
Juliette, there has been a fire hose of information on this case today. First, let me tell you that the district attorney in San Francisco has filed charges against the suspect in this case, Troy McAllister, multiple felony charges, including vehicular manslaughter. Secondly, we learned today that the police union in San Francisco, they want an oversight committee to come in and oversee the way the district attorney does charges. That's a new development today as well. And finally, I want to explain why I'm in Daly City right now. That's because we've learned where that stolen car came from, right here in the Westlake Shopping Center parking lot. On December 29th, Daly City police say 45-year-old Troy McAllister stole the car during an hours-long date with a woman he met on an online dating site. 2 days later, on New Year's Eve, San Francisco police say McAllister ran a red light with that car and killed 2 women as they crossed a crosswalk at 2nd and Mission. McAllister was released on parole after being convicted of robbery in April of last year. Since that time, court records indicate he was arrested 5 times in the next 7 months in San Francisco. He was arrested in June for burglary and possession of burglary tools, again in August for stealing a car and possession of stolen property. October 15th, also stealing a car and possession of meth. November 6th, he was busted for auto burglary. December 20th, possession of a stolen car, stolen property, and burglary tools. Last night at 11 o'clock, I asked District Attorney Chesa Boudin why McAllister was out on the streets.
There are missed opportunities here. And you're right that every single law enforcement agency involved in supervising Mr. McAllister or dealing with his arrests is taking a hard look at what happened and what might have happened.
Also today, we learned that a few years ago when Boudin was still a public defender, he was listed as McAllister's lawyer on the court docket during McAllister's preliminary hearing. A DA spokesperson says Boudin was not the attorney of record, just filling in for one of his colleagues. The head of the San Francisco Police Union says still that presents a conflict of interest.
Yeah, he should have recused himself from this case altogether. He just should have said, I represented him, whether it was for 1 day or 10 months. I'm recusing myself from this, and handed it off to one of his chief deputy district attorneys to make that decision.
Now, about those 5 arrests in San Francisco, in each case, the district attorney's office, according to court records, referred them back to the state, hoping that the parole officer would then revoke parole. That never happened in any of those cases. Meanwhile, that 6th crime right here in Daly City, the police here want everyone to know they were still working on investigating the case. They were trying to set up and trying to arrest this individual, so they say they weren't about to notify the parole officer or anybody else until they had their man in custody. Reporting live, Daly City, Joe Vazquez, KPIX 5.